This has been driving me crazy for months, and I now see that I can't write this voiceover. It's just not in me. So I'm going to say it right now on this tape. I'll do one take, and however it comes out, that's it. No stopping the tape recorder, no post-production. It's the story about during the last half of 2010, I was experimenting for the first time with close-up photography and, to a lesser degree, macro photography. I took thousands of photographs, probably several hundred objects. When I started, I hadn't decided what, if anything, I was going to do with the pictures. It was an experiment. But now, having seen, I think I have a story about how, during the months I was taking these pictures, my eyes got sensitized to the power of the camera. I'd first noticed the power of the camera a couple of years ago when I was taking pictures of people. I saw how the photographer, with his tool, the camera, makes a two-dimensional object. In a picture, it's all up and down, right and left. There's no going into or out of it. If a picture looks like it has depth, that's an illusion that was created. The thing I find strange is that I accepted this illusion so easily and so naturally that I almost never noticed it. So I began to scrutinize with great care the differences between a thing and its picture. For example, these two black walnuts. As nice as it is to hold these heavy, ripe, lizard-skinned walnuts in my hand, I wouldn't want them cluttering up my house. Yet, when I take a picture of them, it's so beautiful I want to hang it on my wall. That's the thing. So that's what I say this story is about. How I stumbled onto something that any art student probably already knows, that a picture is a series of marks that points towards something entirely different from itself. In other words, that these aren't the walnuts, this is a picture of the walnuts. And one of the strands of the story is how deeply immersed I became in the hand-eye process. I became comfortable enough with the tools that I didn't have to think about them. My hands were constantly on the move, shifting the position a millimeter or two on the background, rotating it, adding magnification to the camera, adjusting the lighting, playing with the depth of field. So it was through this constant adjustment and response, I learned to sense what looks right by what feels right. Another strand of the story is how completely absorbed I became in the process of taking. There was no more room in my head to maintain that description of myself as I run through the day. It's always playing in my head, whatever I do. I somehow got out from beneath the whole interior monologue of self-doubt. Time slows. I'm right there, completely focused. I'm not in any hurry. And maybe for a while, I step into the moment, the now. I'm afraid this may sound presumptuous, but that's what I'm saying. That's my gambit. To describe the state of heightened awareness that I was in while taking the photographs. I'm guessing that I felt something of what a painter feels when he's in the chase for something good and he knows it, or a writer or a musician. The process is going right. You know the process is going right when it feels like it's going right. It's not an inspiration, it doesn't come in a flash, but it's a certainty that grows out of the prolonged engagement with how things look. So once that happened, after I'd seen the world in a grain of sand, I realized that no matter what form the pictures took, finally, they were already worth the effort I'd put into them. And when I realized that I really liked some of these pictures, I also saw that printing them, dry mounting them, exhibiting them, if I could pull it off, would cost me a fortune and would gain me nothing, a few dozen visitors maybe. So I saw the best way was to share these images in a video. I spent a lot of time at first thinking about how to arrange the photographs, whether by shape, color, function, or just to go by my gut instinct. I also got stuck for too long imagining ways to animate the pictures. But again, even assuming I could pull it off, this wasn't what I wanted to spend my time doing. So after going down all these dead ends, I decided I had to simplify the project, I'd make up some rules, and then I'd live with them. I ended up with 2 rules. First, the film would be made up entirely of still photographs, and second, it would have to have a voiceover. The reason for the voiceover was the challenge. Could I say something about the pictures that didn't take our attention away from them? So as I say, it's been driving me crazy trying to write this voiceover. And I'm going to have to come back to that in a minute or two. Because if I am going to have a chance to tell this story in one take, I have to stick to the chronology. And the first thing that happened, I think, was my visit to Lowell's workshop. One day last spring, April, I was at Lowell's house to borrow a tool or something, and he invited me back to his workshop. As soon as I saw it, I knew I wanted to photograph it. I went back a few weeks later, took hundreds of pictures, and didn't get what I wanted. Even doing panoramas and stitching photographs, 20, 30 photographs together, I was never satisfied that I'd captured that fabulous array of tools, each sized and categorized and stowed in its place. It was astounding the amount of time and thought that Lowell had put into this space. He'd created a work of art, an installation, a landscape. In one tiny space, a bunch of dusty old railroad spikes hang from a metal band that is attached between 2 studs. And the spikes take up exactly the amount of space that's there. Lowell, for his part, admits that he's obsessed. He laughs at himself and talks about how he sits for hours on the stool by his door, smoking the pipe, and just looking at the order around him. He says he ends up examining and reconsidering the whole pegboard arrangement and wondering what adjustments would he have to make in order to, say, clear a certain row of holes so that the rack of screwdrivers could be raised a peg and there'd be enough room for a larger wrench row beneath them.